it's Olivia from Girlybunches, and in this week's video I'm going to be showing you how I made this really cute crochet pumpkin with tendrils and everything. So yes, this is popular this time of year now, and you know, this is a cute decorative one, but you could also turn this into a spooky one by putting some felt black cutout triangles here and as in the mouth or sew on. It's up to you, but I just love this texture. I've used chunky yarn for this project, for the main body of the project, and I just used normal double knit to make the stalk and tendrils part. So I shall cover all of the parts made, and it's just stuffed with soft toy filling. So yeah, if you want to know the details of the yarn that I've used in this project, I will put them in the description box down below. But otherwise, I'd like to get on and show you how to make this really cute pumpkin. So I'm just going to start off with a random number of chains. I really don't, I'm not going to get concentrating on how many chains here because I'm just going for a length that I like. But I'm just going to do a short version here, otherwise it won't fit in the screen. So, and it's going to apply to all any size pumpkin that you want to make. I will put into the description box the number of chains that I use to make this finished, to make my finished pumpkin. So just go for the length that you want, remembering it is going to squash in a bit at the top and bottom. So if you kind of, when you've got your number of chains, obviously you do more than this, then you just sort of bend it in, and that will give you the kind of idea of how tall it's going to be once you've bent the two ends in. If you can see what I'm doing there, I'm just turning them in because it's going to curve around once we've finished making our flat piece of fabric, I suppose you'd call that, wouldn't you, once it's made. So I'm just going to do a couple more, and all you're going to do for the first row, into the third chain along, you're going to do a half treble. So to do a half treble, it's like a treble, but you don't do two pulls through, you just do one. So you have 3 loops on the hook and just pull it through once. So you may know that as a half double crochet, but to me, because I use British terminology, that's a half treble. So links as usual down below and up here to my terminology video, which will explain what the differences are. So again, half treble is yarn over, put the hook through, grab the yarn through, and then this time when you've got all 3 loops on the hook, you just grab the yarn once more and pull it all the way through those 3 loops. So just going to keep going now all the way to the end. So I shall just speed this up a bit, but you just want to do that first row completely with half trebles. So because you're using the chunky yarn, it will grow nice and quickly. And there we go, just doing the last couple of the row there, all half trebles all the way to the end. And there we go. I'll just tighten up that knot there. There we go. All done. That's that row done. So it's just all half trebles, looking all nice and neat there. I do like this chunky yarn. I don't often use chunky yarn, but when I do, it's quite nice. I like it. Okay, so now in the second row, we're going to chain 2, turn the work around, and then we want to start working front post stitches. So to do a front post stitch, you're going to put the yarn, and we're going to, sorry, I'll just say we're going to do trebles. For this row, we're doing trebles. So put the yarn over, and to do a front post, you put the hook down between the 2 stitches from the previous row, and then bring it up to the front. Then you're going to grab the yarn and put it through. You're going to grab the yarn and put it through the first 2 loops, then grab the yarn and put it through the last 2 loops. So it's just doing a normal treble, but you're working it as a front post stitch. And if I turn that round, you'll see that it's now going to push the top of those stitches, and that will give us that nice ridge shape that we want for the pumpkin. So this row is all the same, front post stitches all the way along, down and up, and just finish off your treble as normal. So again, links up here and down below to a video that I do covering the front post stitching more in depth if you this is the first time we've ever done it, but that is, you know, what I've just shown you there is exactly how to do it. But if you've seen a back post stitch, then I'll just show you what the difference is. You put the hook up from the back, down the front, and you grab it that way. So you're pulling the stitch a different way. So you'll see there, the stitch has gone round to the back as opposed to the front. So the post is on the back, whereas this is a front post, so the post is on the front. Okay, I hope that helps. So again, I'm just going to do a couple more. So you're going to go down in between the stitches, come back up, grab the yarn, pull it through, and then just carry on doing your treble like you normally would by grabbing the yarn, pull it through the first 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull it through the last 2 loops, and we're going to keep doing that all the way to the very end, apart from the very last stitch where I'll just show you what we're going to do. So I'll just speed this up a little bit just to get to the end. And this is a lovely little project to do because you don't have to worry about how big or small you're making it, you know, unless you want to make a set of them, and making the chain as tall as you want the pumpkin to be. Okay, so just getting round to the end there. Last couple, one, another one, and into that top of those 2 chains that we had from the start of the first row, we're just going to do a normal half treble into that second chain, like so. So that's just pulling it through through 3 loops. I'm tongue-tied today. Okay, so that is our first and second row done. Now we're going to chain 2, turn it round, and now you can see that lovely ridge there, which is just gorgeous in this chunky yarn. It really stands out a treat. And then this row is just simply doing a half treble into the top of each of the stitches from the previous row. And I think you've probably guessed what the fourth row will be. It will be the front post stitches again. So I'll just show you that there, and I shall come back when I've got to the end. Alright, so last couple of stitches on the end there, and again into that second chain up that we did for the turn round. We're just going to do a half treble again like that. Okay, so that's our third row done, and then we're going to chain 2. So we're just going to repeat what we did for the second row. So we're going to chain 2, and then we'll start working front post stitches into the next stitch along, and we'll continue all the way to the other end doing the same. I'm just going to do a couple here like this just to show you. I'll turn it over and you can see it's making that ridge again. So you're going to go all the way to the end like you did for this second row, and at this end last stitch here you're just going to do a half treble, and that is how you're going to keep going. You're going to keep repeating that until you get to a length which I shall talk about in a minute. So here is my pumpkin essentially made. So I've gone and done as many rows as I wanted to. So obviously I'm struggling. Let me see if I can. That's a little bit better. Limited space here, so I'm struggling to show it all in the same shot here. But if I just get my tape measure, and we can look at how long that is. So I'm just going to start from obviously one end to the other, and this is looking at being 36 centimeters, approximately 14 inches in length, and I did 20 stitches across, and that works out to be roughly 18 centimeters and approximately 7 inches. So that was 20 stitches across by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24, 26, 28 by 30 rows. So just repeating those 2 rows, and now what we're going to do is we're going to sew up this edge here. So I left a nice long tail that would allow me to sew along. I will find my needle, and I've got this nice sort of darning needle here which has got a nice thick eye, which is what you want because it's this nice chunky yarn. And the beauty about this textured stitch is that you think you're going to see the join when you sew it together, but honestly you're not. It's quite amazing actually how a bit of fluff on there, the wadding, I think, fluff. You're just going to start sewing it together, so nothing really fancy, just your normal stitches. But what I would say is, if you see how you've got the V there, if you can take one side of that and pull that through, sew it through the edge, the bottom chain part that you did from the very start, you get a flatter sewn edge. And as you sew along, and I shall speed this up so that it's not too boring for you, you can sort of see how that is actually just, that join is just disappearing, which is quite clever, I think. I always love it when that happens. If that's better, you can see it like that. So yeah, so just sew that edge together, go all the way along, so just coming to the end there and just sewing that last bit in. And I love how that just completely disappears, how fabulous is that. And then I'm just going to tie it off with that end that we had from the very beginning, and just to make it tidy I'm just going to weave those ends in. Okay, so there we go, all sewn up and made into a lovely tube. And now what we want to do is we want to sew this in so that it pulls in. I'm going to do that on either side. So take a piece of yarn that is kind of, you don't want to cut too much off, do you? So we're going to take a piece that is roughly the same size as our item. I'm going to cut two of those because we're going to need top and bottom. I'm going to take my darning needle again, and then we're just going to start weaving as close as you can to the edge, in and out around the edge like this, because we're going to want to pull it in to make the pumpkin shape. So I'm just going in and then back out again, in and back out again, and I'm just going wherever I can get the needle down into a gap. I'm not sort of putting it in a specific place as such. I'm just avoiding sewing through the actual yarn, so I wouldn't want to sew through that. I want to just find like a natural gap to put the hook, go and put the needle through. Just keep going all the way around the edge, and the reason you don't want to go through the yarn is because it will make it difficult to pull this together once you've got all the way around. Here we go, back to where I started from, which is great. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just gently pull that end in like so, to give us that nice knobbly look that we get with a pumpkin. That's exactly what we want, like that. And then so I'm going to pull that a bit tighter, and that's why you want to go quite close to the edge, because the further down that you go, the less likely you'll be able to pull that in as a nice tight knot. So now what we're going to do is tie that off, and do it slowly so I don't break my yarn, and quickly tie another knot like that. And as you sort of flatten that out a bit, you'll see that it gives that nice puckered up look that you get with a pumpkin. Okay, so I'm just going to leave those ends for the minute because I may want to tie them up a bit tighter, but now it's time to put in my stuffing. Okay, so I've just adjusted my camera a bit so you can see that a bit better. So that's pulled in nicely, and that would make a fabulous hat, wouldn't it? You could put a pom-pom on the top of that and you've got a nice thick hat. You could have a little turn up there. Oh, look at that, adorable. There you go, there's a hat. There you go, a baby hat or an adult hat. Okay, so the stuffing I'm going to use, which is brilliant on this white background, Olivia, nobody can see that, is this lovely soft toy filling, which you can get from well, in the UK I got this from Hobbycraft. They do quite big bags of this, and obviously if you make a bigger pumpkin shape, then it's going to need more stuffing. So I don't know if you just saw that, I was just pulling it about a little bit just to kind of stop it from having big lumpy bits in it. So it's broken up nicely, and I'm just going to start stuffing that in, because when it comes out the bag it's normally one big lump where it's been in the bag. So I just pull it about just to get that all nicely separated. And as you can see, I've done 2 fairly good handfuls there already. I think we could probably go with just a little bit more in there, so probably about 2.5 handfuls. Technical term, you know. Let's see if I scrunch that up. Yeah, I think that probably be about right. I got my needle, and I'm just going to repeat that now, so I shall just speed this up and talk at the same time. And I just love these ridges that this stitch makes. It's so simple, and I'm pretty sure you'll be there's plenty of time to turn a few of these out for Halloween. And you can do them in all sorts of colours, obviously. And back round to the start again, and same principle. We're just going to start pulling that gently, because we don't want to break the yarn. Make sure that stuffing is tucked down nicely. And there we go. That's a lovely pumpkin shape there. I'm very happy with that. So pull that as tight as I can without breaking my yarn, and again I'm going to tie that off. Okay, brilliant. Oh, isn't that cute? Love it. Okay, so I'm going to take this end here, and I'm going to sew these into the pumpkin. And I just pull that out the other side, making sure I'm not distorting it too much, but pumpkins do have a bit of a wonky side sometimes, don't they? Cut those ends nice and tight up like that. Okay, so got the same on this side. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm going to do the same with those 2 ends, and I think it's time to make our stalk. I'm going to start off this stalk part with a magic loop. So to do that, you just wrap your yarn around your finger twice. You put the hook underneath both bits of yarn on your finger, and you're going to take this back piece of yarn and pull it underneath this front one. And then you're just going to do a little slip knot there just to secure it, and then you can take it off your finger. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do 15 more trebles into that loop there. So you may know that as a double crochet, but I'm British, so I call that a treble. So it's going to go into the loop here, and I will come back when I have got 16 trebles into my loop. Okay, so I've done my 15 trebles plus my 3 chains all the way around. I'm going to pull that loop there, that tail end, which tightens up that loop there. And then I can do a slip stitch into that top of that 3rd chain, like that. And now all I'm going to do is do 1 chain, and then I'm going to do a double into that same space. So you may know that as a single, but again I'm British, so I call that a double. And then I'm going to continue to work doubles all the way around, but only working into the back loop. So hopefully you can see on this yarn we have this V shape there, so you've got the 2 loops. So that is the back loop and that is the front loop. So normally you would work through both. I'm just going to work my doubles into that back loop all the way around, so there'll be 16 altogether. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet that I did. And there we go, gone all the way around. And now I'm just going to keep repeating that. So that's going to be 1 chain and then a double to start the round off, and then keep going. But this time I'm going to work through both loops like that. I'm going to keep going Hopefully you can see how that's looking. I'm going to keep going all the way around and just repeat that for about, I think I did 5 rows. Okay, so I've gone all the way around now 5 times, so that was just, I can finish that off now by cutting that end, and I'm going to leave a fairly decently long tail on that. When I say that, I mean about, I don't know, probably longer than I need it. Probably is about 20 centimetres there, which is probably too long, but oh well, done it now. So I'm going to get some more of that toy stuffing. So now I'm going to stuff that with some more toy stuffing, but before I do that, I'm just going to quickly, because we did that magic loop, I'm going to turn it inside out, pull that loop nice and tight, and then just sew that end in so it doesn't come undone and our stuffing doesn't come out. Stitches and then tie a knot like that. One more for luck. And there we go. And turn that back inside the other way now. And that tail end there is going to push in, and we'll put the toy stuffing in on top of it, and no one will know I didn't sew the end in. Okay, so I want a fairly decent amount in there. I think that'll probably do, maybe a little bit more. Never knowingly understuffed. Okay, so I'm going to get that pushed in there nicely, and now what we do is we're going to sew that onto the top of my pumpkin. And now I'm just going to sew that onto the top of my pumpkin. And I'm going to sew that end off. With a knot. Like that, and then I'm going to sew that back down into the pumpkin, out through the side, and then I can cut my end off. Like that. So now what I'm going to do is make some tendrils, you know, those sort of nice twisty bits that you see hanging off pumpkins sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to just chain, and then what you're going to do, so it doesn't matter how many chains you do, what we're going to do is you just start working back along the row. So we're going to do 2 double crochets into each chain, back along the length of chain that you've worked. So keep going. So 2 in every chain that you do, that you made. And as I've done a couple there, you can see how it's starting to twist. So it's making this brilliant little tendril shape. So I'm just going to keep going all the way to the end, just repeating, doing 2 double crochets into each chain. And I'm going to make a couple more of different lengths, and then I'll show you me sewing them back onto the pumpkin. So there we go, that's my finished crochet pumpkin. If you didn't want to add these tendril bits, you could just maybe put some felt, you could get some black felt and make some triangles and turn that into a face. Yeah, all sorts of colours you could do this in. I think it works with the chunky yarn. Really pleased with how this has turned out. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love a thumbs up if you did. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments box down below and I will try and respond to you. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, it's free to do so, and you can just click on that subscribe button down there, and I would love it if you did, and that way you'll get to see a notification of when I upload a new video, which is normally every Sunday. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. It's Olivia from Girlybunches, and in this week's video I'm going to be showing you how to do this lovely textured stitch. Just look at that texture there, isn't that great? And